Hi there! Today I am going to be bringing you the A to Z of Irish mythological creatures, and I've taken it off the site irelandbeforeyouDie.com. So, Ireland is laden with tall tales, ancient myths and spellbinding folklore. It's a land of magic and enchantment deeply rooted in tradition and customs. Throughout centuries, Irish mythological creatures have peppered the stories passed on from generation to generation. So the first one we come to is a Barter, and he was one of the gods of the Tuatha De Danann who ruled Ireland until they were overcome by the Milesians. He is associated with Finn McCool, and he was ruler over the powers of jealousy and teamwork. His name means doer of deeds or performer of feats, and he was an ambitious and mischievous god. Abarta was the son of King Tir Tangara, which means land of promise. Next we have Avcan, and he was the dwarf poet and musician of the Tuatha De Danann, the early Celtic divinities of Ireland. He was said to have a bronze boat with a tin sail. In the story of the death of the goddess Ruad, Avcan is the dwarf that ferries her from the other world to this one so that she can seduce the human Aesronmar. The sounds of mermaids singing, or in some versions music from a fairy mound, cause her to leap into the water and drown. In another story, Avcan is captured by the hero Cuchulainn. He frees himself by playing lullabies, so irresistible that the warrior goes to sleep. Avcan has much in common with, and may be another name for, the dwarf music fair E. Now we have Abarta, Ireland's own vampire. Abarta was an evil magician who had very strong dark powers and treated his subjects very cruelly. In some tales it's said that he was a dwarf, and others state that he was just badly deformed. Avarta, which he is also known as, is Gaelic for dwarf. In the Dark Ages he ruled a small kingdom in Derry. Evil was the guardian spirit of the Dalgash, the Dalcassians or the O'Brien clan. She was ruler of Aishee in North Munster, and her dwelling place was Craiglea, the Grey Rock, a hill overlooking the Shannon about 2 miles north of Killaloe. Evil also had a lover called Dúlan Artigan, and a magic harp of which it was said whoever heard its music did not live long afterwards. Then we have the Aishee, a supernatural race in Irish mythology, comparable to the fairies or elves. They are said to live underground in fairy mounds across the Western Sea, or an invisible world that coexists with the world of humans. This world is described in the Lower Gabala Éireann as a parallel universe in which the Aishee walk amongst the living. In the Irish language, Aishee means people of the mounds. The mounds are known in Irish as the Shee. They are variously said to be the ancestors, the spirits of nature, or goddesses and gods. Then we have the Banana. In early Irish literature, the Banana are preternatural female beings who haunt the battlefields. Now we have the Banshee, the female spirit in Irish folklore that heralds the death of a family member by wailing at nightfall. Next we have the Bada. This mythological creature in Irish folklore is the equivalent of a boogeyman. And we move on to the Kieranna. According to ancient Irish folklore, a Kieranna is the mother of demons and deathly spirits. The cat She is a fairy creature said to often resemble a black cat. A changeling is a mythical creature present in Irish folklore as well as tales throughout Europe. The story tells of a fairy child who has been swapped with a human baby. And the Claina is, in Irish folklore, the queen of the banshees. In some tales she is also the goddess of love and beauty. The Cluracan is a mischievous fairy. In tales, he tends to enjoy alcohol a bit too much and is often depicted heisting breweries in search of liquor. The Crom Crua. Prior to Christianity in Ireland, Crom Crua was, according to ancient Irish folklore, a god. The Coo-Shee is a mythological hound that can be seen across Irish and Scottish folklore. The Dini Mai is a collective term to describe fairies in Ireland. Dini Mai means good people. Then we have the deadly Irish Dúr cow. This mythological creature can be found widely in Irish folklore. It's half dog, half otter, and is a land and water dwelling creature that feasts on human flesh. Yikes. The Don Cuailnge is the famous brown bull that features in Irish ancient folklore, the Tan Bo Cuailnge. The Dullahan is a type of fairy in ancient mythology and refers to a sort of headless mythic creature. Alan Treakin is a three-headed beast in Irish mythology. And Einbar was a mythological horse who could take to both water and land. And now we have the Fal Inish. This was an unstoppable hound who fought in battles according to Irish legend. And now we have the fairies. Generally, they're broken into two categories. There's seelie fairies, and these are the ones which are generally happy and helpful. And then unseelie fairies have darker agendas and can be mischievous and troublesome. And we move on to the fairy queen. The fairy queen was the ruler of all the fairies. The Fire Darag is a type of fairy, meaning the red man, and this fairy is usually depicted in solitude. Fire Gorta, this spirit is the starvation, and it appears as a dying, emaciated human body. The Fet, spelt fetch, is essentially a doppelganger when living people see an apparition of themselves. This usually heralds death. The Finn Vennick is a mythological creature that appears in text as a bull owned by King Ailill of Connacht. The Fomorians were another supernatural race in Irish mythology, and they are depicted as hostile and come from the sea or from underground dwellings. Now we have the Fua. Fua quite literally translates to the word hate, and Fua are deadly creatures who inhabit the sea and other waterways. The Gan Canna is a male fairy known for seducing women. The Glass Kig is a creature that appears as half beautiful woman, half goat. The Glass Govnan was a virile cow who produced endless bounty. Then we have the Joint Eater. And as far as folktales go, a joint eater is an invisible fairy who sits along someone and eats half their food. The Lannan She refers to the Irish fairy lover who takes a human lover. We all know the leprechaun, a fairy generally depicted as solitary creatures in green garb. They're also known to be shoemakers who hide pots of gold at the end of rainbows. And now we have the Lia Macha and Du Shangle. In ancient Irish folklore, Lia Macha and Du Shangle are two chariot horses. The Merrow refers to a mermaid or merman, and the Mucky is said to inhabit the lakes of Killarney in County Kerry. It's a supernatural creature which didn't originate in folklore but in the 21st century. The Ollie Paste is a dragon-like monster. Pig-faced women in ancient tales can be seen across Europe, but it was particularly prevalent in Dublin in the 19th century. The tale tells of a woman with a human body but the head of a pig. The Puka is an Irish mythological creature said to bring both good and bad fortune. It can change appearance to resemble anything it desires. The Slua are restless spirits of the dead. And now we have the werewolves of Ossory. Tales of these date back generations, and they can usually be seen as descendants of Lagna Filad, a legendary figure. And the last one is the White Lady or Ban Ban. There are countless stories of a spirit lady dressed in white across ancient Irish texts. It's usually said that she lost her husband and she roams the earth in search of her beloved. And that's that. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye-bye.